Throughout the country, there have been protests all across India that the boys really should be called back home and that they should have nothing more to do with that tour down under. Now, has the BCCI really weighed the pros and cons of taking such a drastic step, or such a huge step, if I could call it that, of really cancelling the entire tour?
No, the BCCI has not actually dealt on this at all officially. What has actually happened is that informally during conversations within the BCCI members, what has actually happened is that the BCCI is pondering this whole decision to pull out. What will largely depend on is the ICC's response on two issues. One is on suspending Harbhajan Singh's ban, allowing him to play for the next two test matches till the appeal is ultimately dismissed by the appeals commissioner. And the second issue that is going to be very, very paramount in the BCCI's ultimate decision is on whether Steve Buchnor officiates in the third test match or not. The ICC spokesman has said that as of now Steve Buchnor continues to be the umpire for the third test. So it is very clear that this whole decision or deliberation on whether to pull out of the tour will only be discussed post these things are sorted out, because the BCCI realizes that pulling out of the tour, while it's going to send a very, very strong signal, it will hamper relations with Australia a lot. It will also hamper its relationships with the ICC. There is also a commercial interest right here. The BCCI, the board stands to lose millions of dollars if this actually happens. So it is very, very clear that the BCCI is going to tread carefully on this. There will be very strong words spoken. The letters that are going to be put out are going to be very strong. The appeals are going to be very, very firm. So that is what is going to happen. But the final decision on whether to pull out or not will depend, as I said, on two critical factors: on whether Steve Buchnor officiates in the third test match or not, and whether or not the ban against Harbhajan Singh is suspended pending an appeal. So what is very important is that this racial slur against Harbhajan Singh should go. Only then will the BCCI take a final step.
Right, Shujoy, the ban against Harbhajan Singh is obviously something which India, the Indian cricket team, the BCCI both are not willing to accept lying down. But talk us through how exactly this ban came into effect. I mean, from everything that we have heard and seen, really, it was basically, it boiled down to the word of the Aussies versus the word of the Indians. No video or audio evidence was taken into consideration by Mike Proctor, the match referee. In fact, there was no evidence which could substantiate that Harbhajan Singh whether Harbhajan Singh had or had not called Andrew Simons any insulting names. None of the mics picked it up. It was basically just Ricky Ponting who went to that meeting and was testified against Harbhajan Singh versus Sachin Tendulkar and Anil Kumble, who were there to testify for Harbhajan.
Akash, as Anjali, our correspondent in Sydney, has been saying all along, this is precisely why people are extremely surprised, because this whole hearing in front of Mike Proctor, it was completely bizarre. Because Mike Proctor, before the hearing actually happened, he went on record and he told NDTV on camera, saying that all he had heard was the umpires coming up to them and communicating that the Australian captain Ricky Ponting and Andrew Simons had communicated to him that there was a racist abuse against Andrew Simons, and the umpires should take it up and refer this to the match referee. So Mr. Proctor, at no point of time did he say that he had any independent evidence, either verbal or through any of the cameras. Because if I may remind you that the host broadcaster Channel 9 also has a large number of cameras and stump mics which could have picked up. So none of these cameras or mics picked up any action or picked up any word which would substantiate what Andrew Simons did. Well, as the sequence of events goes, what actually happened was that Harbhajan Singh went and kind of patted the batsman on the back. Now he turned around and and there were a few words exchanged. Andrew Simons, who was witness to this, he came up to Harbhajan Singh and he actually said something which seemed unrelated. He actually said, "You seem to be very friendly with our bowlers. Now let's see what you have to say to me." And after that, it's all about Harbhajan Singh versus Andrew Simons. Andrew Simons claimed that Harbhajan Singh called him a monkey. Now that is something which nobody knows and nobody has heard of. But what is very important and which has not come out is that there was an exchange between Harbhajan Singh and Andrew Simons. Whether or not he called him a monkey or not, that is in the realm of complete debate and conjecture. But what is important is that there was an exchange. Harbhajan Singh did exchange a few words and so did Andrew Simons. Now, what constituted that exchange is something that is not very clear. We do not even know what Harbhajan Singh and Sachin Tendulkar had to say about an exchange. So that is very, very, very critical, and that will probably go into a detailed report that Mike Proctor says. But at no point of time did Harbhajan Singh, according to him, did he call Andrew Simons a monkey. So it's very, very obvious that it's all about one person's word against the other. There is no independent evidence so far to suggest that Harbhajan Singh actually called Andrew Simons, a monkey and so on and so forth.
Right, Shujoy. That is in fact one question which has been asked time and again ever since this issue really came into the picture. Did Ricky Ponting really have to go into that zone of no return and go and complain officially to the match referee? Could the captains have not settled this amicably on the field itself? Rika and Shujoy, thank you both for joining us with those updates. Now, don't expect that it's only Indians who are up in arms and angry against the way the Aussies have behaved and how the Indians have been subjected to unfair treatment down under. One usually does expect Australians to stand by their sportsmen, but polls conducted on various Australian newspaper websites have been quite critical of Ponting and his men. Now, The Age, this is what The Age has reported. Are Australian cricketers bad sports? Was the poll conducted there. 57% polled yes, 43% no. Now, in the Daily Telegraph, this was the question asked. Is Ricky Ponting a good ambassador for the game of cricket? Surprisingly, only 18% of the people who polled voted yes, whereas a huge 81% polled no. In the Herald, did India get a raw deal from the umpires in the second test? A huge 80% said yes, while 19% said no. And in the Australian, should all contentious decisions be made by the third umpire? 45% of the people who polled said yes, that all contentious decisions indeed should be referred to the third umpire.